Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed.
Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web.
The Octa research group has expressed concern over the pandemic situation in Metro Manila as the reproduction number in the region soared to 1.15 amid the threat of the Delta variant of coronavirus disease. Octa fellow Professor Guido David said the infection rate in the National Capital Region dropped to 0.6 following the imposition of strict quarantine restrictions due to the surge in cases recently. He explained that if the reproduction number is at 1.15, it means that 10 infected individuals can infect 11 people. According to David, a reproduction number, which is the average of secondary infections by each infected individual, is between 0.9 and 1.1. It is considered moderate risk, while figures above 1.1 is considered high risk. The research fellow projected the number of new cases in the country may reach up to 10,000 cases in the coming weeks. The independent research group is monitoring the number of cases in the country to determine what areas are experiencing a surge in infection. But David was quick to note that this has to be confirmed yet through genomic sequencing to determine the prevalence of the variant in the community. The Department of Health assured the public that the government is doing its best to increase the capacity of the country's healthcare system amid the detection of the more transmissible Delta variant of the coronavirus. In a statement issued Thursday, July 22, the DOH said it understands the fear and anxiety of the public brought about by the Delta variant. The DOH said, "Rest assured that the government is doing its best to prepare our healthcare system for a possible surge, regardless of community quarantine classification." The DOH also said that both the national and local governments must work hand in hand to increase our health system capacity to be able to manage the country's new COVID-19 cases. The Philippine College of Physicians said that hospitals in the country are ready to respond to the possible surge of COVID-19 cases again, adding that some hospitals are already seeing an uptick in cases. PCP President Dr. Maricar Limpin, in a radio interview, called on the government to ensure that the supply of medical equipment needed for the treatment of COVID-19 patients are enough. She said that the mobility of people forgetting to follow health protocols and the Delta variant are among the factors why COVID-19 cases are increasing. The DOH urged the public to get vaccinated and strictly follow the minimum public health standards. The Philippine government has already received a total of 29,985,130 doses of vaccines as of July 22, based on NTF on COVID-19 data. More than 15.6 million people have so far been vaccinated of the vaccine doses delivered. 16 million of them are Sinovac, more than 6.8 million are AstraZeneca, 3 million are Pfizer, over 3.2 million Johnson & Johnson, Janssen, a total of 500,400 are Moderna, and 350,000 are Sputnik V. But there will be more, as additional 1 million doses of Sinovac are also expected to arrive tomorrow, Friday. Currently, the National Task Force on COVID-19 said they are focusing on the vaccination of essential workers or those classified under A4. The Philippine government is targeting 70% of Philippine population to achieve herd immunity. The focus is Metro Manila and other areas with high cases of COVID-19. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez said the country has enough supplies of vaccines for the government's vaccination program for the rest of the year. He said millions of doses of COVID-19 vaccines are expected to arrive in these coming months. Typhoon Fabian maintained its strength while moving slowly off the coast of Batanes on Thursday, July 22, according to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 remained hosted over Batanes and the Babuyan Islands, but the agency noted that Fabian is unlikely to directly bring heavy rainfall in the country throughout the forecast period. State meteorologists warned that monsoon rains brought about by typhoon-enhanced southeast monsoon or southwest monsoon or habagat will be experienced over most parts of Luzon in the next 24 hours. The Weather Bureau said Fabian will move generally westward in the next 12 hours. Pag-asa said Fabian is forecast to exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility Friday evening or Saturday morning, July 24.
Now here is a roundup of news in and around Metro Manila. Let's watch these reports.
Quezon City residents who tested positive for COVID-19 will no longer be allowed to undergo isolation inside their homes. Mayor Joy Belmonte passed a measure requiring the city's asymptomatic and symptomatic patients to be isolated in authorized facilities only. This is to prevent infections among their household members as well as their communities, especially with the dreaded and more infectious Delta variant now in Metro Manila, according to the local chief. COVID-19 patients who will be caught in public before their recovery will be held accountable for violation of the said ordinance, the local government warned. Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso thanked the U.S. government on Wednesday, July 21 for donating more than 3 million doses of Johnson & Johnson Janssen COVID-19 vaccine to the country through the COVAX vaccine sharing facility. Dumagoso said the vaccines, which the LGU set aside for senior citizens, were immediately distributed to the city's vaccination sites after he underscored the importance of protecting the most vulnerable people in the country against the coronavirus. The mayor assured that city's senior citizens that amid the threat of the COVID-19 Delta variant, the city government is doing its best to protect them. Pasay City Mayor Emmy Calixto Rubiano is eyeing the immediate completion of vaccination of those belonging to A2 and A3 priority groups to protect them from looming threat of Delta variant of the COVID-19. Rubiano said the city will offer various incentives to encourage residents to get vaccinated. She also announced that prize awaits all senior citizens who will be fully vaccinated. She said the city government will organize a raffle draw where the names of fully vaccinated senior citizens will be entered. The mayor also said that based on the recommendation of DOH Regional Office, a separate raffle will also be held for barangays that have successfully inoculated 100% of senior citizens and those with comorbidities.
And now let's take a look at the latest news in other parts of the country. And here are the details.
The Department of Science and Technology has logged significant improvement on farmers' agriculture and aquaculture-based enterprises in Central Luzon following the implementation of its Consultancy on Agriculture Productivity Enhancement or CAPE program. A total of 26 farmers from 7 provinces in Central Luzon have been assisted by the program, which seeks to improve agricultural and aquaculture productivity. Under the CAPE program, consultancy teams are deployed to undertake technology improvement and enterprise productivity studies in micro, small, and medium enterprises in the agricultural and aquaculture sectors. The program intends to institutionalize effective farm management strategies, including the transfer and commercialization of better technologies to improve agricultural and aquaculture productivity. The Department of Health Central Visayas reported that dengue cases in Central Visayas have dropped significantly this year. From January to July 17 this year, the region has tallied 976 dengue cases with 7 deaths. The figures are 89.67% lower compared to the same period last year, in which 9,449 dengue cases and 39 deaths were recorded. The DOH and Region 7 attributed the significant decrease to the measures enforced by the local government units, including the quarantine restrictions due to COVID-19 pandemic. Cebu City continues to have the most dengue cases this year with 113 cases. The city had 1,288 cases from January to July last year. The city government of General Santos is looking at imposing hefty sanctions on a popular resort for holding an event on Tuesday night, July 20, that reportedly violated the prohibition on mass gatherings. Authorities received initial reports through the media regarding the alleged mass gathering at the LC5 Farm and Resort in Romana Estate, Barangay Mabuhay, which was in violation of the measures set under the prevailing general community quarantine in the city. Video footage provided by the police station showed a big number of people gathering at the poolside, some of them not wearing face masks nor observing safe physical distancing. Head of the Business Permits and Licensing Division of General Santos City, Geraldine Zamora, said that they will look into the report from the police station and consider its recommendation. But the final decision, however, will depend on the evaluation of the city IATF.
And for the updates from around the world, here is that report.
The highly contagious Delta variant of COVID-19 is expected to become the dominant strain of the virus over the coming months, according to the World Health Organization. Delta, which was first detected in India, has now been recorded in 124 territories, 13 more than last week, the WHO said. According to SARS-CoV's sequences submitted to the GSED Global Science Initiative, over the 4 weeks to July 20, the prevalence of Delta exceeded 75% in several countries. The organization said the global increase in transmission appeared to be driven by 4 factors: more transmissible variants, the relaxation of public health measures, increased social mixing, and large numbers of unvaccinated people. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to spread in Asia-Pacific countries as Japan's capital city reported a 6-month high of 1,832 daily cases on Wednesday. Experts said Japan will probably be experiencing a 5th wave of infections, with the new cases climbing ahead of the opening of the Tokyo Olympics tomorrow. Thailand will order more venues to close in an effort to contain the spread of coronavirus, the Center for the COVID-19 Situation Administration announced on Wednesday. The country reported 13,002 cases on Wednesday, the 5th consecutive day with more than 10,000 daily cases, taking the total caseload to 439,477. Local media quoted the Department of Medical Sciences as saying that Delta variant has overtaken the Alpha variant as dominant strain in Thailand. At least 25 people have died after torrential rains caused landslides in flooded a city in central China, with shocking images showing passengers struggling against chest-high water inside a train carriage. According to state media report, President Xi Jinping described the situation as extremely severe, with flood control measures entering a critical stage. Around 200,000 residents were evacuated in Zhengzhou, local government officials said, as soldier-led rescue efforts in the city of over 10 million people, which saw the equivalent of a year's average rain dumped on just 3 days. The rainfall in the region was the heaviest since record-keeping began 60 years ago.
Now for the latest news in showbiz. Let's watch this.
K-pop superstars BTS, whose new song Permission to Dance debuted at #1 on Billboard Hot 100, has been appointed as a special presidential envoy. South Korean President Moon Jae-in appointed the Grammy-nominated group as special presidential envoy for future generations and culture. The BTS's appointment as special envoy is in line with Korea's aim to lead the global agenda for future generations, such as sustainable growth, and expand diplomatic power in line with Korea's elevated status in the international community. As a special envoy, BTS will also attend major international conferences, including the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September, to deliver messages of comfort and hope to young people around the world. BTS's appointment is even more meaningful because of the message of consolation in the lyrics of Permission to Dance, the sign language in the choreography, and coexistence and harmony of various races, which are in line with Korea's will to overcome the COVID-19 crisis through solidarity and cooperation with the world.
Here are the latest news in Manila Bulletin's sports section. Let's watch this.
Brisbane was awarded the 2032 Olympics on Wednesday, becoming the 3rd Australian city to host the Summer Games after Melbourne and Sydney. The announcement was greeted by cheers from the Brisbane delegates at the IOC session, and fireworks were set off in the Australian city where people had gathered to await the vote. The decision means the IOC has now secured host for the next 3 Summer Olympics, with Paris holding the event in 2024 and Los Angeles holding the 2028 Games. Australia has already hosted the Olympics twice, in Melbourne in 1956 and Sydney in 2000, widely considered one of the most successful games in recent history.
And those are the news on Web today, July 22, 2021. For more news and details, get your copy of the Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow, or you can log on to www.mb.com.ph, or you may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.